We're back again. So this is what I've settled on for the hood, the pop top. We have is 2 short lengths of cold solder drilled into the body, and we just insert those to whatever length we want and then cut them to the final height. And then I put 1 wrap of different diameter, this diameter solder. You just wrap that around. In this case I used the drill bit since it was the same diameter as the hole, which fit the pins of solder perfectly. So we just wrap this around the drill bit for the correct diameter and then cut them separate off of the roll there into individual rings. Trimmed them up, dropped them on, glued them down, and then I'm just going to cut the excess off. I've cut the top off of this one down flush to the ring, and as soon as the super glue on this one dries, we'll do the same there. And that's all you'll see is these 2 little buttons back here, and the top should just come right off. This is flattened out cold solder. I just pressed it with the cutters. Just lay the solder into your flat spot here, crush it flat, make a nice piece of flat bar that you can bend and mold and shape. Super glued it under the top and just bent it in the appropriate shapes there. You see the little step on the length overall to get it under the windshield bar. Now I haven't fit the windshield in here with this on just yet, so I have to see if that length is going to work. And here you can kind of get a sense of it, how it's going to fit and how these will hold it down. And just keep it from rattling around. Remember, it's going to be in one of those clear plexi cases, and but at least now the top is removable and it seems to fit on there okay. I'm happy with it. The windshield is going to push this up just a little bit and should tuck it in under the top, and that's only for when we want to display it with the top on. If we want the top off, it doesn't matter what we do. I mean, this is how the body's going to look, just these 2 little buttons over here sticking out. But I wanted to get this done before spraying the primer on. But that doesn't look, I mean, that looks pretty reasonable, I think, as far as scale. It still retains most of its scale aesthetic. So, yeah, I think as a way of making the top removable, that should do it. Pretty basic, kind of a simple thing. Here you can see where the holes were drilled through, the solder comes through, and just super glue those in there. They shouldn't go anywhere, ever. And if they do, we'll just replace them. Right, so that's captured. That's on. If I tug on that a little bit straight up, it won't come off. I've got to release it and pop it out. Popped up. Anyway, there's your video for this phase of the build. I think I'm going to skip ahead from the interior and get the chassis, get the chassis built up. I'll get this up, put the motor in, install the wheel and tire package, get the shocks and everything in there, mufflers. I'm going to have to probably do something creative with the exhaust system. It only has 1 muffler, but it has 2 headers. Then there's no provision in the kit for that. It's not even in the instructions how to tie these together into 1 shot or make 2 separate. So I think what I'll do is I'll use the solder and go with 2 exhaust ports and probably use my aluminum tubing to make a couple of glass packs, and we'll exhaust it. We'll create our own kind of a hot rod exhaust for it instead of using the Midas touch. Okay. For those of you, or Meineke, anybody remember that name? Are they still around? Meineke mufflers? Midas? Anyway, a couple of companies that back in the day used to advertise on the old Shellavision. And well, we're going to create our own exhaust. I'll use my appropriate solder. We'll get that plumbed and hooked up, but I think we're going to do that next. Get this all painted, a little black, a little silver, a little shiny stuff, a little not so shiny, little body overspray. We'll spray a little green around the edges, and then and then we'll go from there. We'll get cracking on that. That'll give me more time to think about this interior. I want to make sure we do something that looks not just scale, but
Vector.
real. Thanks.
I'll send Charlie.